Sean Dustin spent time in federal and state prison for drug trafficking and fraud. Upon release in 2006, he had nothing but the clothes on his back, a bag of mail, and legal paperwork. In 2010, he kicked a long-time methamphetamine habit and started the long climb back up the ladder of life. This is the Nowhere to Go But Up podcast. If you want transparency and authenticity, you're in the right place. This is the Nowhere to Go But Up podcast, and this is Sean Dustin.
This is the Nowhere to Go But Up podcast, and I am your host, Sean Dustin. Today, I will be talking to Angela Marsden, who is from the Pineapple Hill Saloon down in Sherman Oaks, California. But first, let me get a couple announcements out there. This is your first time listening. Welcome. If you're returning, welcome back. It's good to have you with us today. A little bit of housekeeping. If you want to support the show and you're getting value out of what I'm doing here, do me a favor and subscribe to whatever you're watching. If you're on YouTube right now, go ahead and hit that subscribe button and like the video. If you're on Facebook, like, share. And if you feel like you want to monetarily support the show, you can do that as well. Just follow my link tree, which is available down in the show notes or in my profile. And you can support the show that way if you wish. We've had a lot of crazy stuff happening in the last few days, and all I can say about that is, I don't know. Hopefully it will sort itself out. But let's get to the show and our guest, Angela Marsden.
Hi,
hey, Angela,
there.
how's it going?
Good. How are you?
I'm doing well. Thank you. Thank you for coming out today and hanging out with me. Let's start off by showing the video that actually caused me to want to reach out to you. Well, one of them, I saw the video a week before I actually saw another one of your interviews on the Value Entertainment channel, and that's what caused me to reach out to you. So let's go ahead and show that.
Okay, sounds great. So this is my place, the Pineapple Hill Grill and Saloon. If you go to my page, you can see all the work I did for outdoor dining, for tables being 7 feet apart. And I come in today because I'm organizing a protest, and I came in to get stuff for that. And I walk into my parking lot, and obviously Mayor Garcetti has approved this. Has approved this being set up for a movie company. I'm losing everything. Everything I own is being taken away from me. And they set up a movie company right next to my outdoor patio, which is right over here. And people wonder why I'm protesting and why I have had enough. They have not given us money and they have shut us down. We cannot survive. My staff cannot survive. Look at this. Tell me that this is dangerous, but right next to me as a slap in my face, that's safe. This is safe. 50 feet away. This is dangerous. Mayor Garcetti and Gavin Newsom is responsible for every single person that doesn't have unemployment, that does not have a job, and all the businesses that are going under. And we need your help. We need somebody to do something about this.
So yeah, that was pretty impactful. Hold on, let me get rid of this here. So that
Sorry.
was pretty impactful. That was pretty impactful.
Yeah, it's been a long journey, but just re-seeing it again is hard to see. Hard to see. Sorry.
No, it's okay. You have every right to feel the way that you do. It's not fair, and it's a double standard, and it's hypocritical.
Yeah, I just did a small business, my first time ever. I've never done any of this before. You know, I wasn't even political so much before. I just did a small business get together on Thursday. I thought, you know, maybe 5 or 10 people would show up. It must have been 50 businesses showed up. And I sat and filmed some of their stories and let my attorney speak to them. And you know, in some ways, I think for all of us, it felt good because we weren't communicating and we're all experiencing it. But the stories of what people are going through, I mean, and that's not even the staff. It's not even people that work for us. This is just the business owners themselves. I mean, some of them even dwarf mine, you know, and the city's done nothing. The state has done nothing. All of us have applied for these so-called grants. There wasn't one person. There was one business that got a grant from Lowe's. Not one person got anything from the city. They've gotten nothing from the state. And you'd think that after all of this, one of them, Garcetti or Newsom, would reach out to me and say, can we put the community roundtable together and figure this out? Nothing. We haven't heard from anybody, you know? And it's hard. It's really, really hard. I mean, we're looking at possibly being locked down till now, April or May. And it's like, even with the GoFundMe I have doing to go, we lose $30,000 a month. That money will be gone in April, and just hoping we'll be allowed to open outdoors. You know, many of us can't even open outdoors. There are bar owners there that have been shut down since last June because they don't have food. You know, I have an interview with which I'll let you, if you want to put it up, with a couple that's immigrated from Ireland years ago in the 80s. They had 3 kids and they own between them 2 bars. Neither one of them have been allowed to open. And these people are like run out of unemployment. They've went through their savings and they don't even have any clue as to when they get to open because they don't have food. They don't get to open outdoors. They don't get to open at all. You know, and the landlord on one of the properties is, you know, sold the building, and the new owners told him that the landlord's going to come after them for the back rent. You know, and these people are, you know, this is their retirement. You know, I have another owner of La Poubelle who's had her bar for 50 years, and she can do outdoor, but people, when she was doing it in the safe way, were threatening to firebomb her because, you know, she was open and spreading COVID, you know, and she's at home at a loss taking care of her mom who opened this business 50 years ago, who has dementia. She had her 80-year-old uncle in to help her with to-go, and then realized that to-go just isn't going to cut it. So she shut it down, and can't pay her mortgage. She can't, I mean, it's like such a huge problem that it's like, it seems unsurmountable, the money that would be needed to save everybody. I'm so grateful, so grateful for where I'm at, and I'm still terrified I won't make it. And then I think, what can I do to get us all open? You know, what can I do to help everybody, you know, because it's just bad. It's really, really bad, you know? And
Yeah,
I didn't expect to actually be this upset, but I haven't seen that video in a while. I've been more in fighter mode lately, you know, like punching at air is what it feels like sometimes, you know, but I know like Barstools is out there and they're helping people, which is amazing. I mean, they have to raise so much money to help the other states are open, so they don't need it necessarily. I mean, they need it. Everybody needs it. But like states like New York's been decimated. LA's being decimated. It's unbelievable.
yeah. No,
I'm so
no. I
sorry.
mean,
I didn't expect this. I never usually cry like this on an interview. This is, I guess Thursday was a very much a, Thursday for me was empowering. We're trying to recall Newsom. We're at 1 million signatures. So I was trying to get all the other businesses on board. And, some of them are so angry. They're like, let's just open up. But, people don't understand. They're going to pull our liquor license and never give us one again. So we'll never be able to work or own a business here again if they do that.
yeah, they literally, it seems like it's so hard. It's so hard to call this. And it doesn't make any sense. I mean, there was one thing that you'd mentioned. You say you're doing to-goes. And the to-goes, what I don't think people understand, when you use a company like Uber Eats or the other
30%.
ones.
30%.
Yeah,
they take 30% of margins on food. Most of us make our money off liquor. Food, there's no margins there. Like, it's so low,
Yeah. Yeah, I was listening to a Joe Rogan podcast where it had two other business owners that were on there, and they said that their margins are 15%. And, if some of the companies were charging 18%, 30%, that's the first time I heard that. So it's literally costing you money to stay open, even though you're like working for free, basically.
Basically, how I look at it is, for me right now, I've got to pay fixed costs, whether I'm shut or not. So I've got to pay the rent. I've got to pay the insurance. Between all the insurances that we carry, that can be $3,000 a month, But if I stay open, it's helping what little staff I have left. So maybe if I'm lucky enough, the to-go and the people coming in will cover the food costs, the liquor costs, and their salary, and they're able to make some tips. Because, let's face it, my servers had very good income based on tips, not on hourly, and even though the hourly is high in LA, they tax the crap out of them and they get zero in their paycheck. So it's not like that $15 an hour that we're up to now is going to my staff. They tax it away from them. So it's the tips that really gave them the quality of life to be able to live, and so I'm, trying to keep it open for that. But every month I did the numbers. I lost last year. I'm $286,000 in debt with just past due rent, everything. I lost $500,000 or no, more than that. I lost over $500,000 in revenue. I've had a generous GoFundMe, and that money literally sits there so that I can pay the loss every month. And I've planned it to where I can get to April. And then I'm praying to God that sometime before then, they let me go outside again. It's a hope and a prayer. There's no plan. We don't know what's going to happen. So we're just sitting here spending money, or some of us, like I went in debt and did the SBA loan, and there's a new one coming. I'm thinking, wow, do I take that? And then if the business fails, I'm straddled with this debt and no job and nothing, you know what I mean? Like, it's just so overwhelming. When I talk to some of the other business owners, some of them just can barely even get out of bed. The depression. Well, one woman owns baby clothing shops. There were other businesses that showed up. A woman showed up with her 4 kids that had like a baseball camp for kids. This other woman had two brick and mortar baby clothing shops. She's got 4 kids. She can't make her rent. She's down to her and one other person. She said, I finally got on Prozac. I don't know what, and that's just the business owners. And that's what I keep trying to tell people. There's the waitress and servers I talk to. They're 5-6 months behind on their rent, that they're going to start getting evicted if they don't extend it. But even if they extend it, somehow they're supposed to pay all that back in a year. So they're supposed to pay $1,800 a month in rent, and then rack up $60,000 in debt that they're supposed to then start paying off in a year to their landlord? I mean, what do people think are going to happen?
And then there's no way for you to even reach out to anybody in the government, right? Because they don't answer their phone, they don't return calls. It's just like, this is what we did, and that's it.
Right. There's absolutely no solutions. And quite honestly, you know, I can't talk about it, but I have been, again, blessed by a big attorney, and we filed lawsuit. We're going to try an injunction next week. Luckily, he says he's willing to go all the way to the Supreme Court if we can get there. But there's no, I mean, people are like, why don't you leave California? I hear that a lot. And my mom is in Indiana. They're open up already. You know, like all these other states that did it opened safely are doing better than our numbers in LA. Like our numbers in LA are the worst in the country, and we've been locked down since the holidays. They literally took what was a 1.2% chance of eating at my patio on the holidays and shoved people into their homes where it's a 74% chance of catching it. And then the numbers are out of control, and they act like they don't know why. Like it's something else. People are fed up. They're not staying home. The traffic is busy again. I just went to Dinah's Chicken in Los Feliz because I raised my son there when it wasn't cool. Actually, it was like the ghetto, but it was better than it is now when I lived there. I went and got Dinah's Chicken with a friend. I said, I just need one moment of normalcy. Let me go back to where I raised my son, and it felt good. It's not far. We took the chicken and went to a park, an LA County Griffith Park, and all the picnic tables that look just like my picnic table are filled with people eating to go. Nobody's cleaning. Nobody's making it safe. They're just out eating. And my patio, I had the Board of Health or the Public Health Department literally came by last week and gave me a warning. They didn't give me a fine. And they said, nobody can sit out on your picnic tables outside with their to-go. You have to make sure that they don't and put signs and tell them they can't sit there. But they can go down to Van Nuys Park and sit and eat the same food and have nobody there with sanitizer, nobody there with masks, nobody there with gloves, nobody cleaning up after they leave. It's
horrible. I mean, it really, and they wonder why, you know, people start filling in their own narratives of what's actually happening and why it's happening, because nobody is giving any answers. Nobody is giving anything that makes sense as to why this is happening. You know, and when you know, information is absent, that's what we do. We fill it in ourselves. So we start making up, you know, then they start talking about conspiracy theories and all these other things. But I mean,
I never believed in any of that. Now I don't know, because you can't tell me that you're that ignorant. If you're that ignorant, how did you get through college and how did you get voted into office? Like I could do a better job with this city than fucking Mayor Garcetti. I mean, sorry, I'm sorry if I'm cussing.
That's okay.
You know, I told my attorney, I was like, look, if you come into my pub, let's just think about that. Let's think about the rules for thee, right? The rules for us. You come into my bar, you're having a great time, and you're partying with your friends. Maybe you're celebrating an anniversary and you have drinks, and you get in your car and you drive and you kill somebody. You're charged with manslaughter, right? Even though your intention was never to kill anybody, you're supposed to be responsible enough to not get in that car and drive, right? Mm-hmm. If you're a doctor and you kill somebody because you've made a mistake or you're not, you know, doing what you're supposed to do, you can be charged and lose your license for malpractice. So I have a mayor and I have a governor that's making the numbers worse and is starving their people and putting them out in the streets and taking their homes away from them, taking their jobs away from them. Suicide rates are through the roof. Heart attacks are through the roof. People are literally dying from the magnitude of destitution and stress. Why are they not accountable and held to the same manslaughter charges and the same standards that every Joe Plumber and Angela bartender is? If I serve you those drinks and you kill somebody, I'm liable. If I serve you underage, I get charged with a misdemeanor. So how is it that these two people can continue to make the most unscientific, science doesn't support it, not have a round table with the people to see what to do for the people, not exhaust every area to show us that, hey, we know it's bad and we don't know what we're doing. We're trying to figure it out as we go. Let's figure this out. How can they sit in their pristine seats in offices and have no accountability? And not have the same accountability as you or I?
It makes you wonder, doesn't it? It makes you wonder what's happening. It makes you wonder why is this authoritarianism being shoved down people's throats and causing people to do things? I mean, if you go, I think the numbers last year or in 2020 where in San Francisco, because I'm from Northern California, so in San Francisco, they had 600 plus overdoses versus only like 100 and something COVID deaths.
195. I read the article.
Yeah, and there was only like maybe 100, if that, COVID deaths. So, I mean, it doesn't make sense. Let's go back a little bit because most people think that, business owner, you were probably rich and, you had the money and, you had this business and all these other things. But let's talk about where you came from, because when in our conversation, it was nothing like that. You were just like anybody else. You struggled.
No. Yeah, I'm originally from Indiana. I moved out here at a young age, single mom, to pursue my acting dreams, and also just the weather. And I wanted to teach my son that home is where the heart is, and to, pursue your dreams. That was a big deal for me. I had no child support. I, worked my way up, through the restaurant industry, took a shot at my dream. I've done some real estate, but literally my partner and I have a silent partner. He's already left the States. He's living, elsewhere, was my acting teacher that I knew for 20 some years. And actually that story, I had went into real estate and I was losing everything because of the housing market. And his sister, who's a good friend of mine, was diagnosed with stage 4 lung cancer at the age of 32. And she had a child. And he said, well, if I can get us a loan, maybe you should go back into the restaurant industry and that could help us get through this. So no, we got a loan at 10% interest. We were lucky to get the loan. We were lucky to get this place. I worked the first 3 years as a bartender, not taking manager pay. So that, it's funny. There's all these laws that people don't understand. So, I took over the place. There was staff that's been here forever. And there's workman comp laws that people don't understand. So the old owner before me did not know how to run a bar. They were an accountant and they worked for the city. So when I took it over, I wanted to keep the staff. My mom worked in a bread factory her whole life. And this kitchen staff, and there was a waitress at the time, Helen, had been here since 1978. One of the reasons the owner sold it to us is because I wanted to keep the staff. So, I go to apply for workman's comp and the old owner had a really bad record. And in the first 3 years, so workman's comp, what people don't understand is if you keep 51% of the staff or more, you inherit the old owner's workman comp record. So because of people filing against them for their back and falling and all this,
they were at high risk with workman's comp. So the insurance was running close to $4,000 a month just for workman's comp. If I had fired everybody, I would have went down to $1,100 a month and started as a new entity. Even though I was a new entity, I had to inherit that for 3 years. So I told the staff, listen, we're in it for the long haul. I won't take a manager's salary. I'll bartend for the first 2-3 years until the points drop off like a driver's license, and then I can start paying myself a little bit. So I've worked this place for 10 years, making very little money the entire time, trying to pay off debt. We were sued by the handicap people. They extort you for money. Solve that. Luckily, I had a good attorney. They came back twice, even after I did everything they wanted, trying to get more money, but they didn't. I've worked my whole life. I started 15 years old at Bob's Big Boy in Fort Wayne, Indiana. I learned to bartend in Vegas when I was 21 because I wasn't making it here, and I moved there to learn how to bartend because I had a dental degree at the time, but they take taxes out and you pay for childcare. When you have a child under 5, you got childcare, Most interesting fact. So the Independent Restaurant Association says that 1 million single parents are employed by us. And we are the number one industry for hiring minority managers. I mean, the people that they are putting out of homes and out of food are women with children, are minorities, and there's all this talk about, want to support women, want to support minorities, and yet they have abandoned us on every level. Every level. Like I had 2 other bar owners, we were having, we should have filmed it a round table, and they're 3 women. And we were saying how hard it was as a woman to actually get a chance at owning a business, and there's not many of us, and what we were going through and how completely abandoned we felt, like we serve the community because we love the community. I do a Bad Santa fundraiser every year. We hire the younger people that are just wanting to get in the business and wanting to learn how to work out in the world, or the ones here in LA who want to make it as an actor or a musician, they come and we hire them, and then they pursue their goals and their dreams because they can make a good enough pay with tips to actually stay here and live here and do that, the older people that come into our bars. We're the ones that take them in as family and look out for them. Oh, we haven't heard from Jimmy. Where's he at? Check up on him, I had a couple right where I'm sitting, right across from me, that got on his hand and knees and proposed to his girlfriend because he met her here. I had a wedding party show up one day, and she had her dress. I was like, what are you guys doing here? And they're like, we're on the way to the chapel. But you can't see her in that dress. That's bad luck. And they go, we don't care. We met here. We want a picture with the whole groom and bridesmaids and us under the Pineapple Hill sign. So much that we give to the community because we want to and because we love the community, and we know that the community is doing their best, but it's feels like you've been abandoned by your government, by the people that should be helping you. We shouldn't have to beg our customers to help us. We didn't create this. It's not our fault, and we're prideful people. We are always the givers. We are the service. It's called the service industry for a reason. So for us then to be the people not giving and not being able to help our community and be the ones in need, I don't think people really understand how demoralizing this whole experience has been for every single one of us who's just trying to do the right thing and trying to keep people safe. And, we're pivoting at every turn, at everything they ask us to do. We're putting up plexiglass. We're wearing masks. I spent $60,000 to $80,000 on all the stuff they wanted me to do to keep my people safe because I love my community and I love my customers. I would never, ever be okay if one of them got COVID from me.
you know, because I have a lot of older people that come in, you know. Can you imagine if I would have to live with that? That's way worse than anything you could do to me, any fine you could give me, you know. And literally we you know, I was sitting with the, you know, Francoise and Lori. Actually, Lori owns our bar, and we used to bartend together at the Rustic Inn, and we both got out of being bartenders and became bar owners because we're so passionate about this business, you know. And we were just like, you just feel like totally abandoned by the people that are supposed to be actually in charge and taking care of you. The mayor, the governor, not even a rep. I haven't even had a city rep. My city rep, I don't even know the person's name. They haven't been down. You know, I did a community think tank, and what the business owners told me is, you've done more for us in this one meeting than our Mayor Garcetti and our city has done for us. Like, nobody's come to them. Me, none of them. They've not reached out. They've not said, let's get together. Let's see how we can stay open safely. They're doing it in other states. Let's, you know, it's, and yeah, there are bad apples. There are people that aren't going to do it. But, you know, from what I'm understanding now, I could be wrong. Do your research. The public health department is funded by our permits and by us. So then when you start shutting us down, they're depleting for money, and the city doesn't give them money. So now you have health inspectors, and they're going from 15 to 4. Like, they can't manage policing everybody. So what? Oh, the answer is, instead of, you know, giving money to the health department so they can enforce people that aren't being safe, that maybe are doing things that could spread it, we just shut everybody down? To me, that's a management decision, you know? And every single day, with how thin our margins are, me and my fellow business owners, every day we have to make management decisions because our margins are thin, and we have to make these tough choices. So where are the people that are supposed to be caring for our Los Angeles, you know, City of Angels? Where are the elected officials who are going to make the hard decisions and be honest with with our community and say, listen, if you have comorbidities, if you're older, stay home. We'll get you some extra cash. Let the other people who are willing to go out safely and take the risk save our economy, so there's something for you to come back to when we open up. Is that hard?
Yeah, sorry about that.
No, it's okay. But I'm just saying,
had a little glitch.
You know, I'm going on. I'm sorry, but I shouldn't go on. I'm sorry. It's just, I don't know. Anyway.
No, it's got to be really difficult. I mean, you know, you came from you know, like everybody else, you had a dream, you followed it, you tried to do the best that you could to make sure that everybody was taken care of and that you didn't displace anybody from your business. That ended up costing you money. I mean, everything that you've done, that you've said, it like, you're a good person, and all you want to do is just live your life and have your business and, you know, the American dream, right?
Yeah.
I mean, that's what we all think of as an American dream. That's what
America's about, right?
Yeah, and it just seems like it's completely opposite of that, which is crazy. I don't understand it. And, you know, right now it's you know, I don't want to get into any kind of political stuff. We've seen enough of that in the last couple of days. Actually, we've seen enough of that the last year.
We need
solutions.
We need unity amongst our people. We need to, like, stop letting them pit us against each other. We're not against each other. You know, we, the people, are not against each other. And we need to stop playing into to whoever is running the show into that hand, because there's power and strength in love and compassion. And it's sad that we have to do it, but that's where we're at. So I don't know how else to get through this if we don't start coming together, you know?
Yeah, we're a lot more alike than we are different. That's for sure. And that's what I've been noticing throughout this whole thing. I mean, you know, we're all, if you're watching mainstream media, then you're not doing yourself any service. You're following narratives that are being spun to make you think in a certain way.
Yeah.
You know, media like this. I mean, if you're out there right now and you're watching this, share it. You know, share it. If you want to help society, when you see things like this, share them. Show other people what's going on. There's a GoFundMe link that's right down there, and actually in the description down here. And go to that. You know, check out her Facebook page. There's a description and there's a link to that as well. You know, all of these things are going to help people. And you said you wanted to get a roundtable discussion going. Well, let's do that. I can get up to 10 people on this streaming platform and bring them all together. And we all come on and you guys talk about this and put it live so everybody can hear what these discussions are, what's actually happening. You're not complaining, you're telling truth.
Yeah.
You know, and you're informing the public of what's happening in California, and it's not happening in other states. Why not?
Yeah.
It's happening in New
I
York.
want to know why are we, like, why can't you just look across the United States and see other examples and all right, so maybe you made the wrong decision. Own up and go, hey, maybe we went the wrong direction. Let's try a different approach. You know, like, that's what.
Yeah, and the fact that they haven't reached out to anybody, like not even the largest, most popular restaurants in the area. Joe Rogan had 2 of them on there, and they said, we have never gotten a phone call before any of this happened that was asking us, hey, what can we do to be safe? You guys are the experts. We have an issue. We need to figure it out. Come on in and let's talk about it. Let's do a task force. Let's do something, you know, that they would normally do anywhere else. And nothing.
Nothing. And I want to add, because you had asked, we got into the conversation of, well, people always say, well, why don't you can go back home to Indiana then, you know? And it's true. I could just say, I can't do it anymore. Mom, Dad, I'm going to come live with you, and walk away from my 10 years and say, well, I have nothing. I got to start all over. And that's hard for me to admit, but I could do it. But I've got a staff. You know, I just had a conversation with them. They're terrified. They're like, Angela, we're in our 60s. You know, they were able to actually have homes, you know, because they worked 70 hours. I mean, they worked their ass off their whole life just to have a house, you know, and they're like, we're terrified you're going to give up. We're terrified you're going to go back home, because what are we going to do during this pandemic? And at our age, where are we going to find a job? You know, and I'm like, guys, I'm holding on because of you guys. I'm doing everything I can to get through to the other side because of you, you know, and those are the reasons why I keep, you know, I see people fleeing California. I mean, they're literally fleeing the state. But what about the people born and raised here, like my kitchen staff, and the people that have to be here that have no voice and they have nobody fighting for them? Like, you know, I don't know why I can't, you know, it's not in me. I have to do what's right. It's not in me to take the easy road, easy way out. You know what I mean? And these are the reasons why I continue to talk and I continue to do what I can, because I can't just leave the state that I've loved for, you know, over 20 some years, and the people like my kitchen staff and my neighbors who have been here, they're from here. If nobody fights for them, if nobody tries, what's going to happen? You know?
Yeah, I mean, well, and here's the difference too. It would be one thing if it was because of a decision that you made and you lost your business and you lost all of that stuff because of bad decisions that you made as a business owner. That would be something completely different, but you didn't do anything wrong. You did nothing wrong.
And neither did they. Like, no. These are human beings making, to me, the laziest choice they can make to try to solve a problem. Because I know, based on the lawsuit that we beat LA County. We beat them. The judge said it was a gross overreach of power, it was arbitrary, and that the scientific research doesn't show what they're claiming. And still, because we're in a state of emergency, they were able to bring in a different, judge or whatever and reverse it and put a stay on it. It happened in San Diego. San Diego, the strip clubs won. They won to go inside, and that opens up all the restaurants. So everybody was so excited. They won in the federal circuit court. And then the mayor, with his emergency powers, said no and put it, we're going to enforce it if you open. I mean, these are people acting like dictators, not like civil servants hired by the people to make good decisions,
Yeah. Something's definitely going on. Something's not right. I mean, just common sense, critical thinking. These are things that if you apply those and you just telescope back a little bit and take a look at what's going on, it should be red flags all over the place in whatever it is that you're thinking, that common sense is not present here.
No. And obviously I think my video on accident, that was God, not me.
Yeah.
Showed the hypocrisy, but then they're so blatant about it. You know what I mean? It's such a horrible pandemic. Literally, you get it and you are going to melt, right? So I'm going to go to French Laundry with all my financial backers that are going to give me, kickbacks or whatever they're talking about. And I'm going to eat with 12 people after I've told you guys you're going to, it's the most dangerous thing in the world. I'm going to eat at French Laundry because I'm so terrified. I'm so terrified of this horrible thing that's out there that I feel like I should just go eat with 12 people at French Laundry. Or Barbara Kuhl, who said it's the most dangerous thing ever, and the woman is in her senior years. For her, it actually would be dangerous. But then she goes next door and eats outside in the outdoor patio after she's voted down us opening up and saying it's the most dangerous thing.
Yeah, and then she lied about it too when she was asked. She said some silly thing that didn't make any sense. I mean, and that's part of the problem that we're seeing, is that the people that are in power, we're nothing to them. Okay,
Nothing.
They are so far removed from what the average American deals with and goes through, because a lot of them come from wealthy families and they're selected to be where they're at. They're not elected. You can, whatever you want to say about that, but it's true. I mean, most of them are wealthy. I mean, look at Nancy Pelosi, for instance. She lives in a mansion. She lives in a mansion with 12 Sub-Zero or 2 Sub-Zero refrigerators that are $12,000 each, eating $15.
And we got $600. $600 is the cost of the ice cream that she so lovely ate, while people are having food insecurity. They don't, I know grown men that are getting Cal Fresh for food. And that's just the start, because evictions hasn't started, and we got $600. That wouldn't pay for the ice cream in her refrigerator. It wouldn't pay for half of one of her refrigerators. And again, it's not political, because if she was a Republican, I'd say the same thing. It's just truth being shoved in our face. And then they wonder why people on both sides are so angry and so just willing to do anything, because people feel as though, and they're not feeling it's reality. How am I going to eat? How am I going to feed my kids? How am I going to pay for the rent over my head? It's to that level now. Forget retirement. Forget savings. Forget, can I own a home one day? We got to worry about, are we going to be able to eat? Are we going to end up living in our car? It's how they cannot see that entices things to get worse and things to not be good. I don't know. I don't know how they can be that out of touch. And then they wonder why, again, rioting in the summer, rioting in, for both sides are hurting so bad. And they're not doing anything. I think I lost you.
It's still going.
Yeah. Okay. Maybe we should just get out. Or, I don't know.
You want to just go?
All right. Well, if you were watching that, sorry about that. We had I had a glitch in my on my internet connection, so we lost Angela. But I mean, this just goes to show you that, look, there's something going on. It's not right. You've got people that are suffering. I mean, all you have to do is just, I mean, that's not fake. That's not acting. You could see the emotion. She was so emotional in the beginning that she couldn't stop, you know what I mean, to tell her what was going on. And that's, my heart goes out to her and everybody else that is going through something like this. It is a shame in California that people are literally being starved out. I mean, I don't know how else to express how crazy this is. And we're not even talking about the rest of the stuff that's going on in the world. I mean, that happened on the 6th. We got some other stuff that's, the transition that's happening on the 21st, inauguration. I mean, what's going on? And why aren't people more upset about it? Have we been that conditioned through this last year that we're okay with it? We're okay with our neighbors being not able to work, not able to take care of their families, being forced to move out of California. Some people have been here their whole life, but now they got to leave because they can't afford to live here, because the job that they do is not considered essential, is not Amazon, is not gig economy, is not any of these other things. Is that where we're at? Because to me, that's not American. I mean, I live right down the street from an Amazon hub that went in during the pandemic. So literally, they threw these 2 giant warehouses up within 3 months. They were, boom, it started and wham, there they are. And these are going up all over the place. Everywhere, every big city. I guarantee you Amazons are popping up by the dozens. Why is that? Why is it okay to shut down businesses and the mechanisms by which they're doing it? I mean, Angela even said, if we open up, our liquor license is tied to something else. So if I just decided to say, oh, well, screw you, which there have been businesses that have done that. Two of them got fined down in Danville, where I live. They said, screw you, we're going to stay open anyways, which I don't blame them. I mean, okay, yeah, that doesn't mean you're a COVID denier. It doesn't mean that. That means that outdoor dining, look, UV light is what kills the virus, right? I mean, it's already been proven. That's a fact. So wouldn't you say going and sitting outside during the daytime would be probably one of the most safest places that you could probably be? I'd say so. I went to Utah not too long ago. You had to wear a mask going in, and you could sit down and order your meal and everything else. I mean, they weren't really tripping on it. But California and New York, I don't know what's going on, man. I really don't. Are they trying to get everybody out of these states because, maybe the billionaires want it for their playground? I mean, California has the best weather ever, anywhere. That's why it's so expensive to live here. I mean, start asking yourself simple questions. So many coincidences have happened in this last year. Like more coincidences than would even be happening in your own lifetime have happened in 2020. Oh, that's a coincidence. Oh, well, that's tied to this. Oh, well, why is everybody not asking more questions? Why is everybody just going along with it? Just going along with, I better just do what they tell me, because I'm a good American and I just want to follow the rules, and I don't want to, I don't want to rock the boat, and I don't want to go to jail, and I don't want to get fined, and I don't want all these other things and everything else. But when you lose curiosity and you stop asking questions, question your government. Question the people that lead you. Because when you just blindly follow people, how do you know they're not going to lead you right off a cliff to your death? Which is what it feels like in California, and I'm sure to Angela and to these other business owners, that they're trying to do what they're supposed to do. They're following everything. She put $60,000, $70,000 into her patio, following the conditions that they set. Oh, well, we can do this. Yeah, okay, we'll do this now. They did it. And then probably a couple days later, they shut them down still. I don't get it. I don't understand. It doesn't make sense to me. And it shouldn't make sense to anyone else out there. Even if you're in a state that's allowing any of this, you should be wondering why it's not happening here. Just because you don't live here doesn't mean that this couldn't happen to you. You just happen to not have somebody in charge that's trying to, I don't know, maybe want to run for president one day. That doesn't make any sense. There's got to be a reason why he's playing ball and doing, what they want. So look, there's you can follow Angela over on her Instagram channel. Let me go ahead and throw up that for you. Sorry about the internet connection. My bad. I moved to a new place and it has internet, but it doesn't. Obviously, that internet sucks. So I'm going to have to figure out something else. So her Facebook business page is right there. If you want to hit her up on Instagram and follow her on Instagram, you can go there as well. All of these links are available in the description below, or wherever it is on Facebook or on YouTube, wherever it is you guys are watching from. You can go ahead and get all that stuff there. And if you can, I know all of us are in, hard times right now. But if you can, if you can't support Angela, at least try and support some of your local businesses that are struggling and are being affected by this. Instead of going to Taco Bell or Chipotle or In-N-Out, why don't you go to the local mom and pop shop out there, that could use your patronage. Like she said, the margins, the margins on food. A lot of these restaurants, they depend on the liquor to kind of offset the cost of the food, right? Well, these different like Uber Eats, and you have what's the other one? Some of the other one. I don't order that stuff, so I don't know exactly what they are, but I know that they cost money. She said 30% of the bill. So if you have a $30 bill for takeout, it's going to cost you $10 to have them take it. And so I would imagine, I don't know, I'm not a business owner. I don't know anything about business in those terms, but I mean, I've heard it from a couple of different places. Like one was the Joe Rogan podcast. I listened to a couple of restaurant owners down in LA, and they were saying the same thing. It's costing them money to have Uber Eats, or what is the other one? DoorDash or any of those other ones. It's costing them money to use these services, and it's barely keeping them open. So whatever you can do, whatever you can afford, that's you got to support your local people, and a lot of these places are hurting. Everybody's hurting right now, and it's breaking my heart, man. And all I can do is what I'm doing here is trying to amplify the signal of people that are struggling out there, and people that are being wronged and stuff like that. So I'm going to try to hook Angela back up again and do like she was saying, like a roundtable deal. That I think would be super, super helpful for everybody to be able to hear from, not just restaurant business owners, but other business owners, like she was saying, other brick and mortar locations. Like lady owned two different children's stores closed. What are you gonna do? At some point, and I don't think we've seen the end of anything, because at some point, the people that haven't been paying their rent or paying their mortgages, there's no relief in sight. Nobody's going to come and save us. Nobody's going to come and save you. It's everybody's going to be screwed. We're going to have 2008 all over again, or 2019, whatever it was. That big financial crisis, and that was caused by bankers. And they got bailed out. So they caused the problem, and they got bailed out, and they got all the money, and we didn't get shit once again. Kind of like what's happening now. So I don't know, man. It's not. I know in 2008 they tried to make it say that oh well, it was the people that were the homeowners. They made bad decisions, and they were living beyond their means, and they took out loans that they couldn't afford, and all of this other stuff. Well, what are you going to say about this one? What are you going to say? This wasn't anybody's fault except for the people that shut down the fucking economy. That's who the problems were. That's where they came from. And, you want to give us $600? What is that going to do? It's not going to do anything. It's not going to help. It's not going to help the $7,000 back rent that I owe. What kind of meaningful shit are you doing that's actually going to help somebody? Nothing. And it's probably by design, for whatever reason. And it makes me very angry that you can send millions of dollars in this silly thing that you guys just came out with the government just came out with $600. I don't remember what the name of it is, but I mean, within all of that, how much money went to other countries? What? You're giving Pakistan how many millions of dollars for gender studies? If they took all of that money and put it back into the American people and the American economy, we wouldn't be having this big of a problem. So I don't know, man. Sorry, I didn't mean to get off into a rant there. sometimes that's just where I go, man, because I don't understand, and we're not being given any answers that make sense. And so when nobody communicates, we're forced to come up with our own narratives as to why we think things are happening and why things are the way that they are. Not saying that it's right, but that's the second time that I've heard from somebody that, nobody has reached out to anybody that's in these businesses. And the minute you try to contact anybody, you can't get anybody on the phone. So I don't know, man. I have no idea, but I hope that people are starting to wake up and realizing that it's up to us, man. The government is not going to save us. Do you understand what I'm saying to you right now? The government is not going to save us. It is up to us as humans, as people, as Americans, to start helping each other out and figuring out this problem and asking more questions as to why is this happening. If we do not do this, it is going to get a lot worse. Believe me, it's going to get worse, not better. I've got 50 episodes in my queue, and you want to know what's a shame? Is that most of them were done in May, June, July, and they are still relevant today when I release them. That's pretty sad. That just goes to show you that nothing is changing. You think because Biden got in there that things are automatically going to change? That's not going to change either. Start doing your own research. Stop staying plugged into mainstream media. If you're watching Fox News, you're watching CNN, you're watching any of these other things, you're already losing. Because they're not telling you the truth. They're spinning narratives at you. They're programs. Why do you think they call it programming? Because they're programming you to believe the narratives that they are concocting. So do yourself a favor. Start finding some credible sources, some credible investigative journalists. I mean, you can go to my YouTube channel, and everybody that I follow and watch is in my suggestions. Start there. Start listening to podcasts. Get away from that mainstream narrative, because it's poison. It's toxic. And you see how it's dividing everybody. You can't go anywhere and talk about anything without half the people believing that it's one thing, and then the other half of the people are believing that it's something else. So you literally have the informed and the uninformed. Who's who? Who's who? The people that listen to the alternative media sources, are they the informed and the mainstream narrative is the uninformed, or is it the other way around? I think it's alternative media, and if you're listening to that, at least nobody's. All right, let me just stop. Anyways, thank you for checking out the live stream today. Like I said, sorry about the fact that Angela got cut off there is due to my internet being funky. And I'm going to try to get her back with a bunch of other people, maybe not a bunch, but maybe 6 or 7 other folks down in that area. And I'm also going to start contacting people in my own area, in my own local area, and see if they want to come on the show and express some of what's going on in their lives and their businesses and how that's being affected. I don't know, man. We're in territory that I don't think anybody understands how we got here and what the implications of it are going to be. So there's going to be way more to come, man. Practice some self-care out there. If you're alone, find someone that you can talk to. Mental health is really important right now. Being able to communicate your feelings and not being attacked is really important right now. And if you don't have anybody, start something. I mean, Zoom, StreamYard, all of these platforms have a free service where you can have at least 3 people on there, as long as you have the laptop. Most laptops have cameras built in them and microphones built into them. Start your own. You don't need to have people start things for you. If it's not available, make it available by starting one. That's what I did. And it's been, we've been locked down for a good portion of the last year, it seems like. And if we weren't, everybody's been staying inside because they don't want to go outside. That's been very important for me, is being able to do these podcasts and reaching out to different people all over the world and just being able to talk. Just go into Facebook and post, hey, anybody want to jump on a live stream? And I guarantee you, or jump on a Zoom call, I guarantee you, you're going to get somebody that wants to. So, we're not alone, and we're all pretty much very similar. I mean, we're not all the same, but we're very similar. We all kind of want the same stuff, Just because somebody's skin is different, somebody's from a different place, someone's from a different country, someone's from different whatever. It doesn't matter. At the base of who we are as a species, we're all the same. And so we need to start acting like it. Start helping your neighbors. Start helping in any way that you can. Start by sharing this. That's a good start. Share this. Thumbs it up. Subscribe. If you're listening to this as a podcast, hit the subscribe button. Go rate, review. Do whatever you can. There's tons of ways that you can help support people without spending money. So that's all I got. Thanks for listening to me rant. And we'll see you next time. Let's take us out here with
You've been listening to the Nowhere to Go But Up podcast. Sean is a single dad, a union blue-collar guy, and he spent time in federal and state prison for drug trafficking and fraud. When he was released from prison in 2006, all he had was the clothes on his back, a bag of mail, and some paperwork. Since then, he's turned his life around and shares the struggles and successes on this podcast. We hope you enjoyed the show, and we hope you were moved. To connect to the show, book a guest spot. For merch, Patreon, PayPal, and social media links, go to linktr.ee/nowhere to go but up. On Instagram at Nowhere to Go But Up Now. On Twitter at But Up Now. On the YouTube channel at Nowhere to Go But Up Podcast. See you next time.